This is 5.1 homework problem 9, and we are working with exponential functions. The problem asks us to graph a function on a given grid and then plug in a couple x values and tell whether the function represents growth or decay. So part A says graph f of x equals 15e to the negative 0.2x for x between -5 and 15. So what I want to do first is get an idea of what my graph is going to look like. So in my calculator, I'm going to go to the y equals and put in my 15e. I'm going to do the second key and then the ln to get the e to the power. And I'll put in the negative 0.2x, make sure that x is part of the exponent. And then I want my window to be the same as the window that I'm shown in MyLabsPlus. So I'm going to go to Window. My x minimum is -5, maximum is 15. And if I look at their grid here, it looks like the scale is 1. So I'm going to leave the scale as 1. Y is also -5 to 15 with a scale of 1. So I'll change that, -5 to 15, scale of 1. I hit graph, and now I have an idea of what my graph should look like. So what I'm going to do for part A, I'm going to use the pop-out tool for my graph, and I'm going to select this exponential tool. Now click anywhere on your grid and it's going to make the standard exponential function. What you want to do is you want to tell it a vertical stretch or compression, a horizontal stretch or compression, any vertical shifts or horizontal shifts, and then any reflections over the axes. Now our base is E. You can change the base down here, but because we have a base of E, we're going to leave that as E. A vertical stretch or compression is the number that's out front. So in this case, I have 15 e to the -0.2x. So my vertical stretch is going to be 15. Now, if you had 11 e to the -0.2x, you would put an 11 for your vertical stretch. Your horizontal stretch or compression comes from what is multiplied to the x. You do not want to use the sign. You just want to put the number right in front of the x. So I have 0.2x. So for my horizontal stretch or compression, I'm going to put 0.2. And now if I have a negative attached to the x, that's going to be a reflection over the y-axis. And so I'm going to check that box. Save it, check your answer, and we've got the graph. Now to find f of 10 and f of -10 in part B, what I'm going to do is, there's two ways you can do it. Because I have the function plugged into my calculator already, one thing I can do is I can go to my table. I'm going to go second window to go to table set, change my independent to ask. Then I'll go to table, which is second graph, and I can put in a -10 and a +10. So for a +10, I get 2.03. And for a -10, I get 110.84. And it says, although your first answer is correct, your second answer is incorrect. Check your calculations. So f of -10, let's see, 110.84, round to 3 decimal places. It could just be my rounding. So let me go back to my home screen. Let me go second mode to quit, and I'll actually plug the negative 10 into my function. So I'm going to have 15 e to the negative 0.2 times negative 10. Yes, so it was just the rounding, 110.836, because they wanted me to round to 3 decimal places. And now they ask, does this function represent growth or decay? If it is decreasing, then it's decay. If it's increasing, so going up from left to right, then it would be growth.